Hi, and welcome to the newest episode of Keen Minds, where we're covering NBC's The Blacklist. This is Season 5, Episode 15, Pattie Sue Edwards. I'm Jen, a.k.a. Takata Saiko.
And I'm Tessa. And how did you like the episode?
I didn't. I found a lot of issues it fell very flat for me in a lot of places and irked me in others.
Wow.
I mean,
okay.
I said last episode that the reason I'm so hard on the writing team is because I know how much talent they have. So here we are. So
let's start by the things that you didn't like.
That's a very long list. We'll just go through
plot
points.
Through and get through.
And I'll hit on them as we get to them.
To me, it was an interesting thing because I felt that the episode was actually well constructed, solid. It had actually great lines. I mean, there were bits in there that were brilliant, totally brilliant. I love them. And yet, I mean, I think it moved the plot nicely along. You know, you had those beautiful scenes that, with Detective Sinclair. He had fun moments.
I liked Sinclair.
Moments.
I did like Sinclair. I knew he was dead. Like, I tried not to get too attached to him once I knew he wasn't a baddie, because I'm like, well, he's a dead man walking, so do not get attached to the dead man walking, Jen.
Yeah, the funny thing is, for some bizarre reason, once I learned that he was clean, he kind of slipped off my radar. So I wasn't really thinking that, he's going to make a mistake and Garvey is going to kill him.
Oh, that was so broadcasted. It was all over the place. Yeah, I mean, I had no doubt in my mind that he was going to, but I've been saying that since he showed up, that he was either a dirty cop or a dead man or both. And so he was not a dirty cop, but he definitely was a dead man.
Congratulations, because I didn't even notice. It just slipped off my radar. I was very laser focused over the last couple of weeks, so I must say that he's just slipped under my radar. It had to happen from time to time.
Yeah, it happens. We'll forgive you this once.
Thank you. So generous. But the funny thing is, I did feel it was all of those things, and yet it felt like a filler episode. Not a filler episode, a setup episode. It gave me the impression of Ruslan Denisov.
Let's start in with the Blacklister, because I wanted to like her. I did. And, she actually, when she first popped in, I looked at the room and I said, does she not look like Carla Reddington's actress? A younger version of, what's the actress's name that you like so well?
Mary Louise Parker.
Yeah, didn't she look like a younger version? There's something in the mouth.
Not really. Probably.
I thought she did. But anyway, and so I thought I don't think that was intentional. I think it was just the actress. It was interesting to me. But it just seemed so over the top. And I mean, to be fair, we've had some over the top blacklisters that it's not a bad thing. I mean, at some point, 5.5 seasons in, or 4.5 seasons in, 5 seasons in, you have to keep things interesting. I mean, so it's, I hate to say that, over the top isn't a bad thing. Because it's always been, you've called it a little cartoonish. Is that what you called it one time? The extreme in certain parts of the Blacklist. Mm-hmm. But, I mean...
I call it, it's more elegant than cartoonish. I think I described it as a cartoon aesthetics.
Yeah. Not in a bad way. I was going to say not in a bad way. But... You have this woman who lost her husband, which obvious parallel with Liz, and I do think they might have been using her to parallel the potential repercussions Liz may be facing if she goes off the reservation, which we know she will. But that this woman got the truth her own way, and she's paying the price for it. She's going to prison, and so I mean, I think she helped make the stakes Liz is looking at real. And so, like, I liked her in that, but she was a former biological weapons expert. Yeah, no, she was current Army. But former biological weapons expert who had lost
No,
her...
she was given discharge.
No, she was
She
still
was
in...
stripped
no,
of her clearance and discharged.
I don't believe she was discharged.
Huh?
They were still calling her captain. But she was a biological weapons expert who had lost her clearance at the very least. That chose to, and so I get using biological weapons. I totally get that. And okay, sure, we're going out on a limb here with a biological weapon that can also infect a computer. Okay, it's TV. I'll little bit of disbelief there. But then we get her turning around and her going, but I didn't want to hurt anybody. And I'm going, sweetheart, you shouldn't have released a biological weapon in a crowded place. Of course people are going to get hurt. Of course people are going to die. Even if you give them
Well, nobody died.
We don't know that. It was
Well, they said that there were only a few criticals, and then she released the
She did,
the
but
protocol.
she would have known how long it would have taken the CDC to clear that, if they would at all. And, like, it just...
I don't think that you were meant to like her.
They were trying to paint her, I think, as both super dangerous, and then it reminded me a lot of Natalie Luca, where I'm having the same reaction to her as I did to Natalie Luca back in last season, where you're supposed to feel really sorry for, and I do to an extent. I feel sorry for the husband.
Why do you think that you're supposed to feel sorry? I thought that they painted her unlikable, just like Frederick Barnes was unlikable.
I don't know. I don't know. I thought that it was kind of uneven writing with the way they wrote her. And maybe it's just me. I don't know. I haven't spoken to a whole lot of people that have watched it to get their opinion on her.
Yeah, I particularly found her unlikable, but I thought that she was written specifically so that you could understand her, but not like her. I thought it was very, very same as they did Natalie Luca, same as they did Frederick Barnes, and same as you fell for probably for Maddox Beck. The same thing that all these people that are willing to do mass murder over whatever, or Gaia. That's another one that comes to mind with, that was a nuclear threat, but it was the same thing. I don't think they don't write them likable.
Yeah, but those people were trying to kill people. And that's the thing that when you had, all of those people were intentionally going out to kill people. She turns around and goes, but I didn't want to hurt anybody. And that's where that disconnect is for me, is that she went out, released a deadly toxin, into a public place, put people in critical condition, potentially, set people up to die. She didn't even want to kill this guy that killed her husband. I mean, I would totally have understood if she wanted to kill him. Didn't even want to kill him. And I just, the whole thing seemed a little bizarre to me. It just didn't strike the right chord for me.
Oh, see, I had no problem whatsoever with it. I thought it was actually, I liked the fact that they painted her as, and you could understand her intellectually, that she wanted her husband to be exonerated post-mortem, like Red wanted to exonerate Liz post-mortem when he thought she was dead, but not likable, not particularly likable at all. I mean, she was a criminal, and I never even thought that I was supposed to like her.
See, I think I would have gotten... I think I would have been more okay with her if she just hadn't cared who she hurt to get his exoneration. If she hadn't cared that she killed all those people, if she hadn't cared that this guy died, especially if she hadn't cared if the guy that got her husband killed, or that killed him because he took the shot, if she hadn't cared if he died. They were trying to paint her as a person who cared about other people, yet she was poisoning them. It just didn't compute with me.
Well, I think the way I read that was that they're trying to create a comparison with Liz, which is trying to get to the person that killed. She's not out there trying to, killing a lot of people. She hasn't the only Navarro killed Navarro, but, Navarro was part of the team. So
I understand that. And to a degree, I see that link. I just feel like it could have been better.
It didn't hit for you.
It didn't. It really didn't. And so that I was not a fan of the Blacklister. It just, and I mean, some Blacklisters I really like. Some of them I'm just like, it's all right. They were, they were in the background. They were doing their thing. I am much more of a character-driven storyline kind of person. And so the Blacklister of the week is often not my favorite part of the show.
Mm.
And so
I one of the other things that I thought about about when this Blacklister was that for some reason I thought we're getting towards this situation, and my theory, that I think that Carla is one of Katarina's names. I thought that there was a little bit in here of you're getting a Navy SEAL husband and an Army wife, and she's trying to exonerate him post-mortem, clear his name and get him. And maybe that is because, that I've said many times that I could see one of the ways that the Blacklist ends is with Red faking his death and getting military honors back and his rank and the whole thing. And I thought for sure there's something about this that gave me a feel that this is more than the Blacklister of the week, that this is hinting at another theme starting to come out.
And that's the thing, is I felt like that's what they were trying to do, and I actually that's the one saving grace for me with this Blacklister, is that I feel like they did at least link it to Liz enough. That I get what they were trying to do. I just don't feel like they succeeded in doing it. At least from where I sat, I didn't feel like they succeeded in it. But that's just me. I'm just one person. I read things from my point of view. So
yeah. Well, and she also linked to Wrestler, to the Dirty Cop, to Markin. I mean, you could see that in that. I love that final scene in the probably Arlington, and they're giving him military honors post-mortem, or no, it wasn't Arlington because he was interred somewhere else, and they were doing the military honors that they didn't do at that time. I thought it was very moving, and I loved the Wrestler part in there. I thought that he was shaken.
Yeah, and let's kind of move into Wrestler, because he had that really interesting moment there towards the end of the episode. And you and I have talked about dozens of times about Wes and his journey and learning and rubber banding and all of these things, and how being in the middle and being in Prescott's pocket for so long, how that's affected him. How did you feel about that scene towards the end of the episode where he basically pulled a Liz and said, no, you give me the answer or you're about to die of your own, of this disease?
Actually, pull around more than a Liz.
Well, Liz did it in season 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I'm blanking.
Yeah.
Where she injected the
right.
guy.
Yeah. So both of them. I loved it. I thought, at that moment he had one bargaining tool to get to the truth. And I think that at that moment, the guy would have said, hey, I didn't do it. It would have been believable, because it basically is the same as a deathbed confession. But, a lot of people would say, oh my God, you really, what are you doing? Like you're basically threatening a confession. I think that it affected him deeply, because I don't know if his father, we know what we think, that is his version of events. But for all we know, Wrestler's father was deemed to be the corrupt one and buried with no honors or whatever. We have no idea. We've seen a folded flag and we assume it's his father's, but we have no idea what happened there, how traumatic it was for him. I thought it was a great development for him, because it really puts him into, put his feet where his mouth was. He's finally understood that sometimes you have to do some things. And it was important enough for him. It was emotional enough for him that he just pulled that one, and it worked. And he was very telling when, she receives the flag and we realize she has handcuffs on her.
Yeah. Oh, well, I made the comment when they panned into her and they were bringing her the flag. I said, "Are you serious? She would be in prison." And the roomie goes, "Well, maybe they're going to tote her off to prison afterwards." I said, "They better." I said, just for, believability's sake. And then they panned in on the cuffs. I went, okay, all right, I'm all right now. I was just like, they're not just going to let this woman off because of this,
Yeah. No, I were you bothered by that, by Wrestler?
I think it could have been done better. I spent this entire episode going, I get where you're going with it, but it could have been done so much better. I do believe that they were attempting to try to show what the stressors of what he's been through has brought to him and continue his journey on that. Do you remember, I think it was season 3, when Wrestler and Samar were at each other's throats, and Wrestler called her a bitch, and Aram basically said, "I'm not going to tell you how to disarm this bomb until you apologize to her." Mm-hmm. And the entire fandom went, "What?" Like,
I thought it was great.
You're adorable, sweetie, but stop. That would not happen in this setting. That is not professional. You are a professional. Like, it was just not believable for high-end FBI. I mean, like, it was very much a TV show thing, not it. I know, but that was, and I get that. I don't remember how I reacted at the time, but that's kind of how I felt about this. It was all emotions, and in the middle of it wasn't like he was facing down Tommy Markin. Like, I would 500% expect Wrestler to do that with Tommy Markin.
But on the other hand,
hang on, you got a chance to say yours. And so that's kind of the impression I got. It felt very unprofessional on Russ's end. I think that they would have been better served showing his changes and such directly in regards to Liz, with him bending the rule book in ways he never would have before to help her catch Tom's killers, rather than in this moment. I get the dirty cop link. I do get that. I understand it. I believe it could have been done better.
Oh, see, now we're standing in totally opposing directions. Because for me, Wrestler bending the book, in fact, he has done that before. He had talked about revenge, and he had talked about how he wasn't on board with that revenge thing, even when Samar said, that to find her husband killers, whatever. I would have that. To me, that sounded real for Wrestler, that Wrestler would have said, that is not somewhere I'm going, because that's not his direct experience. But this woman, he would have gone, because this woman's objective was to clear the memory of her husband. And she didn't intend to, the fact that she released the antidote, for me, it made all that Wrestler did believable, because he got her. If Wrestler doesn't get the revenge thing, maybe because he never went through with
Mako Tanita,
with Jonica. He didn't do anything. Red did it for him. Red sent him the head and saved him from having to make that choice. But this one, I think that resonated with him. So for me, it felt very organic. That's absolutely not my problem with this episode. To me, it actually felt very solid.
And that's fine. I was not a fan of it.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one, which is funny.
And in further, do we have any more on Wrest? Do you have anything else to add on Wrestler?
No, I thought it was a good, solid episode for him. I think that Diego did nicely on this.
Oh, Diego always does nicely. He's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, but no, this one felt to me like maybe he had the camera work was they usually film him more from a distance. It's very rare that they do a extreme close up on him, and maybe in this episode they did, and maybe that's what I'm feeling. It they had a couple of very tiny little adjustments, especially in the cemetery. Mm-hmm. That I thought were very good, and maybe that's what it is he got the extreme close up that a lot of the other actors get, and he rarely does.
Possibly. I have not gifted for this episode, so that's usually where I notice micro expressions is through gifting the episode, and I have not done that for this. So, I made the comment when they killed Tom off. I said, so Sarama's going to be my ship going forward. And so I both dread and look forward to Saram scenes. Dread it because I'm terrified they're going to do something to hurt one of them. And I look forward to it because I enjoy them. I like them together. I've shipped them since season 2. But at that moment with her waking up with him by her bedside, I was done. I was all in for that. But that whole scene, I was kind of geared up for Ram to have a moment. And I guess he did, sort of. It was cute with Samar's send-off. One of my... And I've talked to a few people. I had someone bring it up to me, and I mentioned it to someone else. So I've talked to several people about this. And I'm not... Apparently, I'm not the only one that feels this way. And it's a very delicate subject because you have people on all over the spectrum on politics watching this, and I avoid politics and fandom mostly because I just don't like it.
They're bad enough without them.
Yeah, exactly. and so I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this, but in television, in movies, the writers, and just in any kind of writing, the writer's personal beliefs are always going to influence the writing. That's normal. I mean, that happens, that's normal, but this episode felt like there were a lot of things that were not woven in, that were just pushed. And it was with Samar and Aram and with Red, or the two
immigration.
They basically just took a bucket of political situations right now and dumped it on the episode without weaving them in for them to really make sense. I mean, like, it's not like they just... It sort of made sense, but it wouldn't have lost anything to leave it out. It didn't bring anything to bring it in, and they wouldn't have lost anything to take it out. And...
I agree with the Samar, with the Aram and Samar part.
It just...
That felt very like, what?
It's like, that's out of nowhere. What just happened here? And so it started with that, and then it moved into Red, and... Like, the first one or two I got because it was an IRS agent, that's government, what have you. I laughed at the first one, and then it just kept going. I'm going, who wrote these lines?
That is Spader, right? That is Spader. Spader put that in there.
It was not woven in well. I felt like if they wanted to approach those subjects, that's okay, but...
They didn't do well for you.
It felt forced and very jarring.
I felt it was jarring with when Samar was like about the immigration stuff. That I felt it was jarring. I actually got it in Red because he was talking about, he has approached that before. Red has said that a lot of times. He has said, I don't pay taxes. Your government spent all this money in eavesdropping. They invested all this money making this skeleton key, and now somebody stole it. This is not coming out of left field.
That's what I said. The first one or two comments made sense. The joke about the IRS about why can't I audit you? That was thoroughly within character, within the situation, within everything. That made sense to me.
So which one was...
I don't even remember what all he said at this point. I've seen the episode twice, but it was just...
that put people in jail for smoking pot,
it was just a deluge
building more prisons to imprison young men of color.
I felt like Red was preaching rather than than in the episode.
Yeah, he needed to keep it at 2.
Say what?
He needed to keep it at 2. He put 4.
Yeah. If there had been less, it wouldn't have felt like that. But it felt very preachy to me.
Well, he even went into the preacher. They made it into a little joke.
That was weird. That was so weird. I was just sitting there going, by that point I'm going, I don't know what is going on here, and I need more wine in my glass. I don't know. It was the whole, let's just move into Red since we're already here. But the entire setup for Red bothered me, and that may be part of what bothered me so much about his tirade there, was that I felt like they didn't know what to do with him in this episode, but they wanted to give him a lot of airtime, and so they're like, okay, so let's do the whole IRS.
Wow, I mean, this is one of those episodes I've seen in several media, I've seen the reactions like that from people who hated it to people who loved it. So this is very uneven for people.
I didn't feel like it gave anything to the episode, that the whole situation.
I loved it.
I mean, it was fine for what it was. Like, it was funny. There were a lot of funny moments. And it also brought in a lot of faces we haven't seen in a while to try to bring them back, because they're probably about to weave them back in storylines. I understand what they were trying to do. I feel like they fell short. That's been my mantra the entire episode, this entire podcast episode. I understand what they were attempting to do. I don't feel like they reached the mark.
Okay.
And so I think they were trying to bring in a scenario in which they could have Smokey, in which they could have, I can never remember the arsonist's name. Earl something. Earl?
Fagin,
thank you. And so bring Fagin in, bring Smokey in. Who else did they have in there? Are those the two?
Oh,
Who?
They have Fagin and Smokey.
Those are two faces that we haven't seen in a couple episodes. Smokey we haven't seen in a while. And so they were bringing them back in and making sure that the audience remembers who they are, what they're doing for Red, what they're working with Red. I get that. And one of my major issues was that when Red went and freed Fagin from prison, it sounded like he was freeing him for a very specific situation that he had in mind.
So this was it?
No, he had no idea this IRS audit was coming up.
It was coming.
I don't think so. If that's the case, that is not the impression I got. And by the way, as y'all are listening to this, I would love to hear if anybody, like, which one, if y'all thought that was the case, or if you were like me and it felt like the IRS thing was news to Red, and
it didn't seem like it was beginning in here. By the time the episode begins, it seems like it was already going on, and he had, got this to get to know this man.
No, see, I didn't get that impression. I got the impression that the first time that he met him was the first time he met him.
Well, because he was already asking what they need and all that, and trying and getting Fagin involved in this. So to me, it read like by the time the episode starts, he's already doing, getting his stuff ready for it.
I agree with that. I think that by the time the episode starts, he's already getting Fagin to burn down the critter, whatever, that he's at, the nonprofit that he owns. And
it might be that we're both kind of right.
I don't think that when he freed Fagin from prison that the IRS situation was going on. I did not get the impression when he freed Fagin from prison. I got the impression that
he's going to roast somebody for the fire.
Yeah, for that, and or the journey he's on with the Nash Syndicate, trying to get a hold of that, and so which may cross paths there, very possibly, and so that's the impression why, and I felt like, I mean, that's like bringing in the heavy hitter for something that, for nothing. I need this taken care of. Oh, you're easy. Come here. I'm going to use up my favor here. And I didn't understand that. It felt very short-sighted and that's been one of the things that I've been very upset with the writing lately, is I felt like there have been a lot of very short-sighted decisions made here at the end. That it's like, oh, we're at the end, but we're extending it, so let's do this to extend it a little more. And it's... I hope I'm wrong there, but that's very much the impression I've gotten off the writing lately, is there have been some floundering decisions made. And that, in turn, felt like what Red was doing here in the episode.
See, I got the impression that, yes, you're correct. I did think that Red was bringing Fagin on board because it's time to do the reckoning for the fire, 27 years ago, 28 years ago. But I think also that in this case, he knew that Fagin loved it. And if he got a little taste, he said, well, take a snort. And that's,
I have a statement to make about that.
Yeah. So he had, that he knew that one Fagin would, go back and do fires, that he was able to get him. And that's a very much a Red thing.
It is.
Well paid, well compensated. You do it when I tell you, don't do it for recreational purposes.
I would have expected him, because he had zero guarantee, especially with the way Fagin reacted when he was let out. He had zero guarantee that he was ever going to set a second fire for him. He may have been gambling on that, but I feel like he basically wasted. He brought in someone that was an expert to take care of something that may not have needed. He took the easy route.
See, and all right, let me try to put this in a form that makes sense. Oh my God, my brain is a little fried today.
Tessa has been snowed in, so the snow was snowy brain.
I got snowy brain, yes. I've been, Rennie's one of those people that he knows, He has expressed this many times before, that people don't change, that when they change, you can't trust them, that people are going to do what they're going to do. And many times it's interesting. Now they're bringing a lot of young in there. And I said, of course, it makes sense, because Red power comes from incorporating the shadow. He has accepted that he's not purely evil or purely good. And he just takes a lot of strength from it. And when he needs to kill, he does. And when he can be good, he is. He doesn't stress over trying to fight good versus evil. He accepts that he has both, and he uses both. So it didn't feel to me that he was, he knew perfectly well that, he will bring Fagin in. And this was probably an emergency. He used Fagin, and then he gave him a handsome pile of money as a retainer for future services. And he knew that as long as he could control himself, he was going to be useful. And Red was going to give him an outlet to do what he did, what he wanted, without getting himself into jail again.
Okay. All right. So I've had a complaint about Red for a while. And a lot of this has come with the downward spiral of my opinion of Red, and I'm aware of that. It started with Kate. I started having serious issues with Red's character with Kate, and then it moved in, and then when he was at least partially responsible for Tom's death, it did me in with him. I was so done. The fact that he's just incapable of changing when it comes to Liz and the serious situations there. And I made the complaint, I'm blanking on the kid's name, the hacker kid that was like 15. Tadashi?
Oh, yeah, Tadashi.
Tadashi was his name. I had serious issues with Tadashi that also went back to the issues I had in season 4 when Red was trying to control how Tom and Liz handled Agnes. And the fact that he feels like he has this
He's a God complex.
He does. He feels like he has a right, an entitlement, there's the word I'm looking for, an entitlement over people's lives because he just knows better. He is the puppet master, he is the chess player, and he's brilliant. Don't get me wrong, I'm not denying that at all. But he feels like because he is all of these things, he doesn't have his ego in check to the point that people are allowed their own free will in the choices that they make. He's been doing it to Liz, and it's been a complaint of mine for a very long time probably since the beginning. But but I mean, that's his daughter. That's, while it's unhealthy, while it's not good, you can kind of go, okay, well, he's a father. Sometimes fathers have trouble letting go. Get that. But he's shown to do it with Agnes. He's shown to do it with Tadashi. And then he sat there, and it's this manipulation. Yes, he told Dembe, people stick with me because they make money. They can go whenever they want, and that's all well and good. But when you manipulate an addict, like he did in this, that's really twisted. It was you're waving Coke in front of an addict. Fagin got it. Fagin is self-aware enough to know he has a problem, and that he can't, as soon as he jumps in, he's all in. He can't help it. And Red's statement was, take a snort. And I remember looking at the TV. I'm sitting on my couch going, are you freaking kidding me?
You cannot get too preachy with this, because Red has been like this. That's how Red got things done. That's, the thing is, genre again. Red is a spy. Spies work with everything that is, that if they weren't spies, they would be criminals. They manipulate.
He is a criminal. He is a criminal, and that's my point. Is there, this is not a writing issue. I do not believe this is a writing issue. I do believe this is a. They have said even James has said since the beginning,
this is not a good man.
Yeah, exactly. He said he's not good. He's not a good guy. Don't mistake this. And I think this is just a highlight again. This is actually not a complaint necessarily about the writing or about the episode. I think it was just highlighting the fact that this is who Red is. He's a manipulative creep sometimes.
That's what I love when he was describing Susan as a manipulative creature whose own husband couldn't believe her. So, honey, that describes you.
Red and Scotty have
Katerina.
Red and Scotty have so much. Red and Scotty have so much in common. It's not even.
And Howard?
Funny. Oh yeah, like they all do. All four. That's why I said all four of them. I'm convinced they all knew each other and had couples dinners, and their kids played on the beach. They're twisted couples dinners in which nobody was quite sure if someone was going to get knifed with the steak knife.
Absolutely. But it's, that's what I always tell people, this genre issue. I mean, think about it. Look at Katerina. She was stringing along this man who was utterly in love with her, destroyed his life, used him like a little puppet, and then left. And the guy's life was turned upside down to the point that even though he had a good woman with him, all he wanted was the daughter and the life and maybe the cure. But he threw away a few good months with his woman just to go chase the ghost of Katerina, basically.
Well, she was a seductress. I mean, there was no question there. But no, I mean, I do think it was highlighting that it was...
He's not a good man.
Yeah, and it's... there was another quote in there. It said, read the book, think positively, control your urges, and I'll put your gifts to good use. And that falls right back in line with that entitlement over people's lives that Red has. That it's just, you make sure you're useful, and I will make sure that you're useful to me. I mean, he'll pay don't get me wrong, he pays the people well. He takes care. I mean, we saw what he did with, I'm blanking on his name, but he got shot couple weeks ago. But the mailman.
Anthony.
Anthony, thank you. He took care of him. Now, granted, the guy got caught in the crossfire of something that Red was doing to get to the Nash Syndicate, but
he was also helping the other guy.
Ish. He wouldn't have helped him if it hadn't gotten something for him as well. But, still. But
that's not true.
No, that is 100% accurate. I don't care about loyalty at this point. That is 100% accurate. He went in there. He was not interested in helping him until he heard that there was a connection to the syndicate. And then he was like, oh, let's see what we can do here.
Well, okay. Jen does not like Red anymore.
And that kills
Never
me.
did too much, but...
No, I loved Red. For the first 3.5 seasons, nearly into the 4th season, I loved Red. Even when I didn't agree with him, I loved him. And I was dying for Red's redemption arc in the same form that Tom received it. I did not ever want to see him.
Did you ever remember me saying that he's not going to get one?
Yeah, and I still disagree with that. Well, I definitely disagree that he's perfect.
In his mind, he is.
In his mind alone. Nobody else agrees with that.
But it is for what he needed it.
Oh, he's an excellent liar. He's lied to himself and...
Let me put it this way. Imagine that all the spies were like wrestler. How far do you think spy will go?
Have you ever heard the story of Nathan Hale? Nathan Hale was the wrestler spy. I love Nathan Hale. Nathan Hale is the Ruby's historical crush, where mine's Joseph Warren, hers is Nathan Hale. And I very much adore Nathan Hale. But he was America's first spy. And as legend has it, he got across... got across the border into deeper English territory during the Revolutionary War. They captured him and they asked him if he was a spy, and because of his devout beliefs, he couldn't lie about it, and so he said yes. So, like that, yeah, I know. I mean, that wrestler is Nathan, and so.
And let's say that the future of the country would have depended on him. He would not have been a great person. He would have been a horrible person because he would have just let.
To be fair, historically speaking, spies were not a acceptable thing at the time. It was a very dirty business. I mean, it's still a very dirty business
at the time.
Yeah,
when the first spy started, when there was a camp that had. A camp of people with of Neanderthals that had a big stick, and they sent another one, disguised as one of them, to find out what they had.
I'm just saying,
the people used to say that prostitution is the oldest profession in the world. Wrong. Spies.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm just saying, historically speaking, it was a very dirty profession of
it's always been dirty.
Yeah, but it's more today. If someone was a retired CIA agent and basically a spy, most Americans would be like, "Thank you for your service." While then, that not so much.
Well, we've got there's also always discrepancies between the way people whitewash history in the way things really were.
That's fair. But anyway, regardless, you said if wrestler were a spy, he would be like Nathan Hale. That would be him.
And
early day wrestler. He's gotten
horrible.
Better. He's gotten better. And no, Red is what he needs to be for the place that he's in. It doesn't. I've been. The longer we go, the less he's just not changing. There is no change happening. There was no lessons learned, and micro changes. Yes, micro changes. Yeah, and you called me on that a couple seasons ago, and you had me.
It's all a little bit, but that's. I don't think that people go in there thinking that you're gonna get a redemption arc for every character. No, you're not. You're not.
But when it's your lead, you expect it.
You expect it. I never did.
Yeah, you're a weird TV watcher. You think it's going to be a spy book. This is television. Most people walked into this expecting James's character to get a redemption arc. I once again, hey guys, while you're listening to it, could you let us know, did you expect a redemption arc for Red or not? Did you go into this expecting him to come out of it, maybe not alive, but at least redeemed in whatever capacity?
I expect him to go out and find out that he has been running a covert operation, and that's it. He's not going to be better. He's not going to have learned from any of the things that he does. He would not change who he is. He would just, you find out that all he's been doing has been doing it for a good reason. I never expected it, and it's, it's like in the, any of the movies, any of the series. I mean, look at Boston Legal. Boston Legal, he was never, there was no redemption. He continued to be the same crazy, self-serving person with
I've never seen it, so I can't tell you.
He never does redeeming characters, let me put it that way. Ever. Okay. He's done always characters who are perfectly comfortable with who they are, that are both good and bad, and that's part of the charm of Spader, is that he gets those characters incredibly well. They don't need to redeem themselves. They're good, and you get to accept for who they are. In other words, you love them.
Yeah. Well, I guess I never really loved Red then. I thought I did. I do not feel like, for the type of show that this is, that he has had the appropriate amount of growth. That's just where I come from on it. But like I said, be thrilled to hear the
now,
listeners.
Lizzie Elizabeth. Hello.
Are you kidding? Would you like another straw? Tessa, would you like another straw? I can hand you some. She's grasping at straws here. He's not calling her Lizzie.
That's my point. That's what you're gonna get.
Did you notice
he offered her to walk away. He's calling her Elizabeth. That's what you're gonna get. And he made a gesture towards Tom by coming to dinner. And he even said, there was a night, he even said goodnight to Tom.
I was proud of him on that one. That, for him, that was a big step. That was a big step.
That's what you're getting.
Yeah, I expected bigger steps.
Yeah. Well,
I understand slow, but not even steady, but slow. But at this point, we've got at most a season left. They're not going past season 6. And from what I'm hearing of the people that are in the know of understanding, ratings and such, we're probably getting a season 6, at least a half season, if not a full season. But
I think we'll get the full season. We might even get a longer season, a couple episodes more, just to wrap it up. Yeah, because right now you can see, but at the rate they're dropping canon facts, that they're stretching.
Oh, they are so stretching. So stretching. And that's been one of my complaints, is that they've run out of information, or they've run out of things here, and I'm like, I get that you need to make it so far, but you should never, and this is not just Blacklist. I just had hoped to never make this complaint about the Blacklist because of the skill on the writing team. You should never have to stretch the story and what you've got to appease the number of seasons.
But that is a giving in TV. There's not much we can do.
It's just BS.
Can we talk about the outfits of Smokey? I love his outfits.
Smokey?
Yes.
Why? What?
He's always wearing the most outrageous things. I love them.
It's never struck me.
The other day he was wearing a plaid with some like stripes and another color. Today he was wearing like a leather jacket with like a shirt and something else that didn't match at all. It was perfect. I loved it.
Wow, I feel very much like I missed something there. I'll have to go back and rewatch.
Oh, look at every time that we've seen him. He's wearing these things.
Oh, he's
quirky. He's very much like circus-like.
Have you seen his mustache going on there? It's in his sideburns. It's funky. Like he's a quirky soul.
He's a very, very. I love the character, and I do love the fact that he's like all like they get the crazy. Oh, did you notice that Smokey was bringing a big bag of bones? Well, bodies, but bones.
True. Hadn't thought about that. That's a good point. I love that. I knew it was only. I love that he was
in a chinchilla.
Poor chinchillas, I love them. Poor little guys, they're so skittish. They're so cute, though. Anyway, sorry, I really like them. No, but the lady's name, I'm horrible at retaining names. It takes me forever to actually retain a name. The lady, the accountant.
Hawkins,
thank you. That he's sitting there the entire time grumbling about Hawkins, about how she's on the something, and basically on drugs.
Yeah, she got allergies. Remember that she has the allergies.
Yeah, but it's not like he was saying that she was hyped up on drugs. Yeah. And Brad's like, no, oh my gosh, she's been around too many dogs. It finally did her in. She's in bed. My guess is the actress just couldn't make it for the episode, but still, regardless.
Well, it was too much. You couldn't. That would have been too many characters there. Maybe. I mean, that's a point that she was in there and she wasn't able to handle it. But I thought it was absolutely great. I love Smokey.
What I was gonna say was that it was funny because he's sitting there the whole time blaming her, and then all of a sudden he turns around and goes, "I knew you were throwing us under the bus." And I'm just like, "Aw, Smokey, bless." I like him. I do. And I have to say that, as angry as I am at Red, he always keeps the quirkiest, most entertaining characters around him.
And let's talk quirky. That scene with that, we only get like two pieces, like two shots of it with Red and Singleton.
Oh.
And then Cooper.
Okay.
I mean,
Cooper's just like, and Liz's face through that entire conversation, she's just like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
I'll tell you, if this episode had like one highlight, is Cooper's scene with Singleton.
Yeah, that was a nice scene. I will say, as critical as I have been about this episode, and I am aware I've been hypercritical about this episode, I loved that scene.
It was classic. It was snappy dialogue. And then I think that the production crew got it filmed perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that the scene of poor Singleton waking up and finding Red and Dembe on the back. I mean, it's not just Red. The back is Dembe.
And Dembe, like, if you don't know him, he's super intimidating because Sham's a big man. I mean,
he's a big man just sitting there, like, looking at you. And then Red is like sitting on the bed
with a gun,
like waving the gun.
With
and
Singleton's
then talking
gun
about the mattresses.
But with Singleton's gun, it's not even Red's gun. It's Singleton's gun that he's taken out of his bedside that Singleton didn't wake up to. Yeah. That's unnerving. I mean, if I woke up to someone on my bed holding something of mine that I should have woken up when they got to it, oh no.
Yeah, but then you get to that scene, and you know that Singleton is like, because that is what Red is that but nobody could do what Red does without incorporating that shadow, that bad part of you that he does, because there he is. He's being perfectly threatening without actually saying, "I'm gonna kill you." It's like what he's talking about mattresses, and then I'll kill you if you snitch about my part with the task force. And then Cooper is like, "So don't." and Liz, and the detective, the guy who plays Singleton did brilliant job.
I'm so sad he's gone. Like, I knew it was coming, but I really, really didn't want it to happen.
Yeah, he grew on me because that scene was just...
I even get why it needed to happen, but I would have taken him kind of joining the cast. Like, I don't think they're ever going to give Liz a replacement for Tom or whatever, but I would have very much liked someone fun to come in and to give her someone to talk to and to lighten the mood, and it's...
And the scene and when Cooper says, he has a flair for the dramatic.
Understatement,
I tell you,
century Coop.
I mean, it's because I've been telling people for a long time that Cooper knows a lot more than he lets on. That Cooper is sometimes plays along with Red. That even sometimes when he gives Red a hard time, he always does what Red needs done in order to get whatever he needs get done. And this scene, I mean, it was pure perfection. This was brilliant writing in that scene. and the acting was impeccable. And Cooper was like having so much fun at this outrage. It was great. It was great. We had really good lines. I mean, even the lines with Fagin were great. Well, take a snort. This is not a job. This is not an offer. This is payment. You gotta just do this. So I thought it was a great manipulation. That's what
it's
Red
very
does.
red. It's very red, but it really bothered me. I feel like I have to. I feel like I have to draw the line there. It bothered me with him, not with the writing or how they're setting him up or anything.
And the second scene we got to touch that was absolutely perfect is the scene with the school principal.
Oh my God!
Where he's talking about making a massage parlor by the school.
Oh, there were some great lines in there. And you're right. There were some really good lines. I really felt like, and this goes back to just I felt like while all of that was fantastic, it was Red at his best. I feel like that's all it was. It was just a showcase of Red's abilities. And I mean, there may be a reason for it, but we've seen it for the last 5 seasons. Like, we know Red's good at this. This is not season 1. You don't have to remind us.
Oh, I don't know. I enjoyed it every time but I love the part.
I think that's part of my problem is that I used to enjoy it, and now.
Well, he killed Tom, so you have an emotional issue there.
And I'm emotionally compromised on this show dramatically. I am the bitter person in the corner at this point. And Ryan's taken a new show. He's not coming back. My last hope was doused. I am the bitter person in the corner. I really hate this because this used to be my favorite show on television.
However, now that you mentioned Ryan going to another show, did you notice by any chance that Davenport was repeated? The Davenport Academy and the Operation Davenport, which was a CIA illegal prison in Manhattan in one of the episodes of Redemption?
No, I actually didn't put that one together.
And then, did you notice what was the virus that Peggy Sue manipulated?
Peggy Sue. Who names their child Peggy Sue? Anyway. So, what?
Nipah. Remember Nipah? Ranko Samani.
Yeah?
This was a manipulated Nipah virus.
Tessa, I want you to look me in the eye, my friend, because we use video to the attempt is to not talk over each other. We both get excitable, though. But Tessa, I would like you to look me in the eye. He has taken another show. I love Ryan. I love Tom. I am telling you, he has signed a contract with another show. They're not bringing him back. They have tossed Tom Keene to the wind. He's gone. Now they are still using him. They are basically using Tom Keene to further their plot without paying Ryan. That's what they're doing this season.
Well,
no, that's true. You ain't gonna convince me of anything but that because I'm
but
very
you know
put out
that
of
the show is about Bellevue, right? You know where Bellevue is?
I don't know a whole lot about it. No.
New York.
He's back in New York. Yeah, I did know that.
Yepper. And, I would not say that I'm 100%. I'm not even 50% sure. I have a feeling that he will be back.
I don't.
Not until the end.
I won't say I'm Tom Keene's biggest fan, but I am a freakishly big fan of Tom Keene. And he's gone. That's what we got. That's the cards that John Bokenkamp has dealt us. I don't know if it's Eisendrath too, but I know Bokenkamp has. And so,
well, okay,
get used to it. That's I have held on to hope with shows, and all I do is get more irritated. And so I'm already bitter over this one. I would like to try to stick it out to the end and not want to throw my TV out the window every time an episode comes on.
Okay. Did you notice the parallels between Cooper having been in a bunch of intra-agencies task force, and he was in the Pentagon task force with the FBI, and
are you
now
talking about
Singleton.
Garvey's task force? Yeah, Garvey and Singleton. I mean, it is task force. Yes. I don't know if it's probably. I mean, it could be considered a parallel, I suppose, but I feel like there are a lot of task force in here just because that's what they do.
No, but this was not a task force. This was an intra-agency task force. There were people from the DEA. There were people from, local law enforcement. There were U.S. Marshals. So that's what I was pointing at is like Cooper seemed to have done a lot of that. So this is becoming really interesting now to me. Also, I noticed that this is not the first time that they noted that Red has objections to biological weapons. That's the reason he goes after Barnes. And he has...
he denied it on moral terms this time, I believe is what they said.
And if you remember that he was also... there's a couple that I've noticed that he has always been against biological weapons. He said, I have no use for that. And the whole thing. And did you notice that the suitcase to deliver the poison was the same as they used for Barnes?
Oh, that kind of suitcase is very, very widely used in television and movies. That's... Mm-hmm. I don't think that was necessarily meant to be a callback, but the episode on whole is definitely a callback to Barnes.
Yeah, well, you have somebody leaving a suitcase and now delivers whatever poison. Barnes did it. This woman did it.
Yeah.
Then we had another widow going to the grave. So that was, again...
Like I said, I do believe that they were trying to do a line
finding somebody with a DNA. She was trying to find the murderer because it was in the blood in there. And more Christmas references. I have to really start looking at the Christmas references.
What was the Christmas reference? I missed it.
We said if it's not and bots were candy and nuts,
we'd all have a Merry Christmas. Yeah, my dad says that. I think he got it from his father. It's an old saying.
From his fencing instructor.
No, I'm saying me. My father got it from his father. If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. He says that to me very often. I recognize that one well. I grew up on it.
And we found out what the name of poor Singleton is.
Yeah. And then he died. I miss him already. Poor guy.
Now, a lot of people are saying that Liz recognized Garvey's voice. I think he recognized him.
Oh, no, I think she recognized his voice.
I don't know why people are saying that. Could you explain?
Yeah, he was fuzzed out. When you see her, you see him in the background, but you hear his voice. The focus of the camera is in on her. And you see her, she's not even looking at him. She's just listening, and her eyes get wide. And it's very well done on Megan's part for acting. And he's talking, and she's listening to it, and she turns around and looks at him, and is just like, holy crap, you're the man that killed my husband. And yeah, she recognized his voice. I have no doubt that's what that was supposed to be.
Okay. I'll look it up again, because everybody's saying, and I just... I didn't, I mean...
She may have recognized him by sight as well when she turned around and looked at him, but I think the voice was the first thing.
Yeah, that was a very, very nice scene by Megan.
Oh, she did excellent. I did like that scene. But I did very much like that scene. As much as I hated to lose him, the fact that Cooper was there with her, I liked that. And
boy, he couldn't put a bullet in him. I had to stab him. He likes his knives.
Yeah, he's definitely a knife man.
He's nasty.
He is. He's a bad person. I still want to stab him in the face. Mostly because he stabbed Tom and now stabbed Singleton. I just want to stab Garvey in the face. Yes, I know that doesn't make sense because there's a lot of hard bone there. I don't care. It's the point. It's the flash of it. Still want to stab him in the face. I'll make it work. Not the actor. The actor is fantastic. He makes me hate Garvey. And that's his point. That is the purpose of the actor. Oh, who plays him? What's his name?
Johnny Coyne.
Okay. He's fantastic at being horrible and slimy.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure it out. How old is he to see whether he's a contemporary of Red? But it's so hard because, again, no hair, so you can't really tell. I think he may be a little older than Red.
You can look the actor up on IMDb, but
he doesn't have
I was going to say that's not always reliable. There's an actor I like very well. It's probably in his early 40s at most, and Wikipedia put him at 55. Like, the man does not look 55. And so people are like, are you really 55? He's like, no, stop, no.
No, but no, Johnny Coyne doesn't have an age. He is very careful.
He does not.
Nowhere.
Does not have an age. He is immortal. It's possible.
So that's all I got. There were parallels galore. I was seeing so many of them. Brilliant lines. It still feels that they were setting up something.
Oh, yeah.
Just reminded me of Rosalind Denisov.
Yeah, I'm sure they were, and like I've said for a while, I mean, there may be a day that I come back and all these complaints that I have, I go, I was wrong, I just didn't see such and such, and I hope that day happens because I would prefer not to be angry and irritable at this show. This was my favorite show on television for many years. I have been all in on this show for a long while, and I would like to love it with the same fervor again.
Yeah, a lot of the super fans are getting very tired. I imagine that
they're stretching things out too much. They just don't have it. And right now they're riding the high of casual fans think Tom's coming back, so they're waiting for that because they're not looking at the fact that Ryan signed on a new contract. They're not looking at all the details the rest of the mega fans are. And so they're thinking Tom's coming back.
Well, but wait a minute. I mean, let's say something. Let's say that Tom were coming back. Let's say I'm right and he will be back. He can't be back until we got like 3-4 episodes before the end of the series.
You say
because
that,
he knows everything.
Tessa, you say that because you've thought it through. You're a theorist. You pay a lot of close attention. Most like when I think casual fans, I think of my parents. My parents, they may not remember names of the main characters sometimes. I mean, they just, you go see a movie with them and you're like, didn't you love such and such scene? What? You know, that's a casual viewer there. They don't retain all the little details. And and I tried to explain to my mother once, I said, it's a way of watching. I said, I am incapable of watching, I'm probably incapable of watching any show without retaining some details at least. But the casual viewer is not thinking of that for the most part. They're not thinking, Tom has the answers, so it can't come till the end. They're thinking, oh, Tom has the answers, Tom's coming back, we're going to get the answers before the end of the season. I know. But I'm just saying that's the mindset, I think, with some people. And so they're writing that, and it's going to take them into season 6. I guess, no, not kudos to them because I still feel like it was a cheap trick to pull. I think it was a cheap writing trick to kill someone off to get a season 6. I hope I'm wrong on that. I do. I legitimately, there are some things I would very much like to be proven wrong on. This is one. Right?
I know.
Wrong.
I know.
And you know me. If they do, I will be the first one to say it. And to congratulate them on it.
I thought it was a solid episode with some brilliant lines, fun red stuff, and yet it felt like because there wasn't a single little bit of canon. I mean, parallels galore, but they've done an entire season of parallels. We've got maybe 2-3 bits of canon in the entire series.
Yeah, it's been a rough season for that.
So it's getting a little like, you know what? You got to introduce something. So let me ask you, what do you think they're gearing up to something? They're doing a lot of parallels. They're doing a lot of introduction. They've been a lot of things about two girls, Singleton's two daughters, the two girls from the travel agency. There've been a lot of sibling stories throughout the seasons. What do you think? Do you think they're bringing us to the fire? You think they're bringing us to Jennifer? What do you think is going to be involved, that big cliffhanger?
I don't know. I don't have a prediction for that.
Katerina, Jennifer, if I were to take a pick.
Are you asking me what I would like it to be?
No, what do you expect it to be?
I don't expect anything. I don't know.
Okay, what would you like to be?
I want to see Katerina.
Tom.
Well,
Katerina.
Yeah. Tom, yeah, but I don't. We're talking about realistic ones.
Okay.
not out in the ballpark ones. No, Katerina is what I would like. I would like Katerina to come back. That would pull me in.
You mean Lotte as Katerina, as young Katerina?
No, as current day Katerina. I don't
They're
care
not
who's
gonna put Lotte.
I don't know. I don't care who they play her as. If they want to age Lottie up, that's great. Lottie's a fantastic actress. I love her dearly as Katerina. If they want to get another actress, whatever. I mean, I don't care. I just want Kat back. I want to see her walk in and know that
Or
it's
I might
her.
be right and you've already seen it.
Okay. She's dying for me
to
to
go an episode without saying that.
It was like back when Redemption was on, we were like, Eddie! Every episode. It was not an episode of Keen Minds until we flaunted over Eddie Gathegi.
I so want them to get Solomon back.
I would love to see Solomon back. I love Eddie
Even
Gathegi.
if it's just like for an episode that they bring him back because he's like the perfect guy to do something. If you ask me for one of those blacklisters that I would love to have back, it would definitely be Solomon.
Yeah.
Solomon and Gina together will be fun.
Oh. Now, while I ship Nez and Solomon, I ship those two. I very much liked them. Him quoting Moby Dick to her did it for me. I was done after that. I'm like, all right, you two. Gina.
You're thinking now Gina and Solomon.
Gina and Solomon would have fun. Like, I don't think there would be any sort of healthy relationship there, but they would make a pretty couple and they would be fun.
It'd be definitely, but healthy is just a matter of whatever.
Well, okay, there would be no.
Fun.
I don't think there would be any depth to it. I think it would be all sex. It would just be sex.
Right. Solomon had a soft spot. I mean, he has a lot of loyalty for.
I don't think Gina does though.
Wait. She saved Tom, and then she was in the car and she was crying.
She was in love with Jacob. I don't think she would be in love with Solomon.
Why not?
I don't.
There was a lot of.
You never know.
There was a lot of things that you could love about it.
Look at you, shipper. Look at you, shipper.
I'm not shipping them. I just think that they will be good together.
That is what shipping is.
No. Because I'm not looking at fluff. Oh my God, the fluff just makes me sick.
It doesn't matter.
But you know what always I've said? I mean, like, Wrestler and Gina, I will go for that. I will have a special date of Wrestler and Gina.
Oh, I could get behind that. I could get behind that one. But I'm officially Solomon. Wow, I like it.
Solomon and Gina together in an episode would be awesome.
Make it happen. Come on, Blacklist. Make it happen.
Yeah, that would be a fun to blacklisters to have because they couldn't be able to trust one another. Yet they would have to because otherwise they would die. So it would be a lot of fun to see that interaction between those two characters.
It's so pretty.
They are both like fun and intense and at the same time kind of detached. Perfect.
It's so pretty.
It's so pretty.
Sorry, I just went really, really shallow there. So pretty.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
That's my wish list for the blacklist that I wish to come back. But my prediction is that we're gearing up to Jennifer.
I could see it. Yeah, I could see that happening. Especially with the girls. I would very much. I wouldn't mind Jennifer. I would prefer Katerina, but I wouldn't mind Jennifer because I think that Bokenkamp has said Jennifer's coming back eventually. I think he said that.
Says it's part of the story.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's about it. Does that wrap our episode up?
Yep.
All right. Well, we are on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Tumblr. You can listen to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And
leave us notes and tell us on all the things that we have not agreed. Which side are you on?
Seriously.
Are you on Jen's side or Tessa's side?
Team Tessa or Team Jen? Come on, hashtag it. Let's do it, guys. Come on, that'll be fun.
Yeah, we're getting to points where we're really like looking at things from opposite views. So it would be fun if you guys just
We promise not to judge you. We won't like be angry at you. It's all fun. Tessa and I are still friends. It's okay. we are adults. We can agree to disagree.
Yep.
That is.
And with that, see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.